Okay, so today we're going to look at the contribution of the jury system to an effective legal system. So again, for this area, you just need to know how the jury system contributes to an effective legal system. So how it contributes to fair and unbiased hearing, how it contributes to effective access, and how it contributes to timely resolution. So you need to be able to talk about things that contribute to an effectiveness of the legal system and parts of the jury system that detract from it. The thing for the jury system is really that all the strengths of it lie with fair and unbiased hearing. So the jury system is very good in providing people with a fair hearing free from bias because it provides a trial by peers. However, there's nothing really good in terms of effective access or timely resolution. The jury system increases the cost involved in the trial dramatically, which reduces people's ability to access the legal system, and also the jury system through empanelment and deliberations and the length of the trial. It just increases the delays involved and reduces timely resolution. So again, we're just going to go through some of the things that contribute to it. This is by no means an exhaustive list. You can bring in all of the things that you've studied so far with the jury system, in particular the strengths and weaknesses that we looked at previously, that it provides a cross-section of the community, that it protects against the misuse of power, and so on. So firstly, in terms of fair and unbiased hearing, some of the features of the jury system that contribute to a fair and unbiased hearing. Firstly, that it's a trial by peers, that there are randomly selected members of the community who are independent and unbiased and who therefore should give you a fair hearing. They're independent of the state. In no way are they employed by the state, and therefore they're able to assess the case on its merits rather than being biased for one of the parties. The jury also acts as a buffer between the state and the individual. We've seen that before within the strengths of the jury system, that the government can't just persecute political opponents, because whatever law they pass, they can arrest people, but at the end of the day, the jury has to find the person guilty or not, and then the jury, because they don't have to give a reason for their decision, are able to ignore the law if they think that it's unfair. Some of the limitations for the jury in terms of fair and unbiased hearing: there tends to be a lack of Indigenous Australians on the jury. It means that they struggle to get a fair and unbiased hearing. In terms of people's distance lived from court, it means again that the jury can be unrepresentative for certain groups. Media coverage can influence the jury and lead to a biased outcome. And complex cases, particularly if there's a lot of medical evidence or financial data that the jury has to sift through, are very difficult for them to understand and therefore may not be able to achieve a fair hearing. In terms of effective access, again, the cost of the jury reduces access for people, particularly for people with limited financial means, may not be able to afford to go to court, particularly in civil matters where you have to pay for a jury. Jurors have to be paid themselves, around about $100 a day for a jury member. Furthermore, juries tend to increase the length of the trial, which further increases the costs. Because jurors don't understand courtroom procedures and they don't really understand either the evidence being presented or they may not understand the law, it means that legal counsel has to take longer to explain those concepts to them. That increases the length of the trial, which means you need to pay for the jury for longer in civil cases, and you need to pay for legal representation for longer as well. All that increases the cost of the trial, which reduces access. In civil trials, again, the party that requests a jury has to pay, and in criminal trials, it's the taxpayer that bears the cost. In terms of timely resolution, juries really, they just increase delays in the trial, so they're very bad in terms of timely resolution. Selecting the jury, again, is a lengthy process, again having to send out the questionnaires and determine who's eligible or who might be disqualified, excused or ineligible is a lengthy process. Then the jurors need to come into court, they're placed in a jury pool, allocated to courtrooms, then there's a challenge process to determine who actually goes on the case. That process itself is very lengthy and increases the delays in the trial. The jury actually having to file in and out of court can be quite lengthy, particularly if there's evidence that the judge needs to rule on as to whether it's admissible or not. Then the jury is not allowed to be in the courtroom for those arguments, so they have to come in and out. Also, the fact that jurors are unfamiliar with evidence, they're unfamiliar with court procedure. That means that the lawyers have to explain the concepts to the jurors slowly so that they can understand it. And again, that increases the delays involved, particularly if you compared it to if we just had a judge sitting alone who understood the law and the legal procedure. The deliberations of jurors are often lengthy because they have to try to reach a unanimous outcome. That increases the length of the trial considerably compared to if it was just one judge having to decide the case. And if we actually have a hung jury, if they can't reach a decision, then the whole case needs to be reheard again. We have to go back through the empanelment process for the jurors, go through the whole trial again. That massively increases the stress involved and the time that it takes to resolve the dispute. So just overall, to evaluate the jury in terms of its contribution to an effective legal system, we need to balance the negative aspects of the jury system, the costs and the delays that reduce effective access and reduce timely resolution, with the positive contribution that juries make to fair and unbiased hearings. So overall, we could say that the jury really is an effective aspect of the legal system. And that's it.